What do you consider a female? What is a female?
And so there are some women who were assigned a female.
You say you're here to defend women. You say you're here to defend women, but shouldn't you be able to define one? Shouldn't you be able to define one if you're for women's rights?
That's literally what I'm
Ms. Goss-Graves, do women have penises?
What you're about to see is one of the most jaw-dropping moments to come out of Congress in a long time. A sitting member of Congress asked one of the simplest questions imaginable, what is a woman? And the so-called expert witness couldn't answer it. Before we get into it, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because moments like this expose exactly what's happening to women's sports and women's rights in America.
Miss Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the invitation to participate in today's hearing. Ms. Goss-Graves, so-called, quote, expert in women's rights. Do you know how many years it took South Carolina to elect its first Republican woman to Congress?
Well, what year did
100 years since women got the right to vote. Do you know how many years it took the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, to graduate its first woman?
Well,
157 years. So I have a series of yes or no questions I would like to ask you based on some of your previous statements. In your opening statement today, you said trans women are women. Ms. Goss-Graves, what is a woman?
So a woman is an adult female. A woman identifies as a woman, and I actually think it is.
What do you consider a female? What is a female?
And so there are some women who were assigned a female.
You say you're here to defend women. You say you're here to defend women, but shouldn't you be able to define one? Shouldn't you be able to define one if you're for women's rights?
That's literally what I'm.
Ms. Goss-Graves, do women have penises?
So again, I believe that women.
Democrats have gone so crazy. Women can have penises. That's not a thing. That's not biology. It's not science. And you sound like a lunatic.
This hearing features Congresswoman Nancy Mace absolutely dismantling the radical gender ideology being pushed under the banner of inclusion. The exchange centers on transgender inclusion in women's sports, but what really unfolds is something much bigger, a complete breakdown of basic biology, common sense, and accountability from the left. Nancy Mace starts by laying historical groundwork, reminding everyone how long it took women to earn basic rights and representation in this country. From women's suffrage to women entering military institutions like the Citadel, she makes it clear that women fought for generations to carve out protected spaces, including sports. Then she asks the question that changes the entire hearing. If you claim to defend women, can you even define what a woman is? The witness, presented as a women's rights expert, repeatedly refuses to give a clear answer. When pressed on whether women can have penises, the response collapses into ideological talking points instead of biology. That's when Mace cuts through the nonsense and says what millions of Americans are thinking: this isn't science, and pretending otherwise is dangerous.
Should young girls just get used to penises in their locker rooms and showers? My next question, yes or no. Should little girls get used to penises in their locker rooms and showers? Yes or no?
I don't know what you're talking about, but what I will say.
Oh, I absolutely do. We've heard testimony today about trans women. Those are women with penises. Those aren't real women. I'm going to reclaim my time. When President Trump issued an executive order to keep men out of women's sports, thank God he did, you said it was sexist, bullying that harms all students.
Correct.
Is it sexist, yes or no, to protect women from men in sports? Yes or no?
If
can't answer the question. Is it sexist to acknowledge basic science? Men and women are built differently. Is it sexist to acknowledge science? Can't answer the question. Does forcing little girls to strip down in front of men in locker rooms harm girls? Does forcing little girls to strip down in front of men in the locker room harm little girls? Yes or no? Can't answer the question. Does forcing little girls to shower, I'm going to reclaim my time. You can quit talking. These are yes or no questions. You can answer them or not. And you've chosen not to answer the questions today because you don't know how. It's shameful.
I know how to answer
questions. Do you support drugging and chopping off kids' genitals in the name of inclusion? Is that a thing for you?
I have to say,
you get off on that?
So stunned.
All right, when a biological man crushes a girl in a contact sport and sends her to the ER, is that your idea of empowerment? Is that empowering women when a young man beats a girl and takes her, sends her to the ER in a contact sport? Is that empowering women? Is that what that is?
Are you talking about Miss McNabb?
I'm talking about
thought
any
that was
woman who gets
horrific.
crushed in a sport
And
by a
I
man physically
actually
and
would
has
love
to go to
work
the
with
ER.
Ms. McNabb and others.
I'm going to
about
reclaim
things
my
like
time.
concussion
So,
protocols.
Madam
and
Chair, we'll
ensuring
show that the witness. I'm going to
volleyball is safe.
reclaim my
I'm a
time. You can
former
stop
volleyball
talking now. I'm
player.
reclaiming
This
my
is
time,
Ms.
Madam
Mace's
Chair.
time, Ms. Goss-Graves.
I would like some of that time back, Madam Chair.
Mace raises direct, uncomfortable questions about locker rooms, showers, and young girls being forced to share intimate spaces with biological males. These aren't abstract debates. These are real-world consequences that affect children, and the witness repeatedly dodges answering yes or no questions. That silence speaks louder than any talking point. The Congresswoman then pivots to sports, defending President Trump's executive order that kept biological men out of women's athletics. She asks a simple question. Is it sexist to protect women from men in sports? Once again, no clear answer. Mace highlights cases where female athletes were physically injured by competing against biological males, asking how that could possibly be considered empowering.
If a man can be a woman, just identify as a woman, as you say, just by saying so, what is the point of having women's sports? What is the point of women's spaces? What is the point of women's scholarships? If you're just going to allow men to take them away, why even bother? Why bother? The loudest voices, I'm not asking you a question, I'm speaking. The loudest voices on the left claiming to fight for women's rights are the very first people to take them away, steal them, and tear these women down. You're the first to erase them. Mr. Liefeld, Ms. Goss-Graves, you all are shameful. I didn't come here to play with an ideology hell-bent on erasing women and grooming children. That's what you all are. You're groomers. And we're not going to. The chairwoman and I, Madam Chair, I'm going to reclaim my
But this is Ms. Mace's time. Ms. Goss-Graves, Ms. Goss-Graves,
This is a shocking thing to say about
Ms.
women.
Goss-Graves, you are not recognized.
Okay, but I just want to say that is a shocking.
You are
thing
not
to say about
recognized, Ms.
anyone.
Goss-Graves. The time belongs to Ms. Mace.
Okay, fine.
Like Chairwoman Graham, I've been holding the line for women, standing between perverts and the rights of women and girls. And we're not going to let anyone in this country forget what a woman is.
This is where the left's contradiction fully collapses. If men can simply identify as women, then women's sports, women's scholarships, and women's spaces become meaningless. Mace argues correctly that the loudest voices claiming to fight for women's rights are now the first to erase them. The hearing becomes tense, with the chair repeatedly stepping in as the witness attempts to interrupt. Mace doesn't back down. She accuses the ideology being pushed of grooming children and destroying boundaries that were put in place to protect women and girls.
Mr. Liefeld, will you face Ms. Stephanie Turner today? Will you look her in the eyes? Will you apologize to her for the way that she was treated by USA Fencing, standing up for women and girls, women's rights, standing her ground as a woman who only wanted to fence with other women? Will you apologize to her today?
Congresswoman Mace, Ms. Turner was given a black card under our rules.
Will
which
you
align with those of
apologize for the way
International
she was treated?
Federation.
So that's a no.
So,
won't do it.
Congresswoman, if I could respond to one thing.
You know what's
Ms.
unbecoming of a
Turner's-
leader? You said this just in your testimony just like 5 minutes ago.
Yes, ma'am.
That you've said several things that are just disgusting and unbecoming of a leader, to use your words. It's unbecoming of a leader today to acknowledge what has happened to this young woman. You just look at her face and look what she has been through, the courage it took her to stand up for her rights as a woman and other women in other sports all across the country. And you can't even as a man look her in the eye and apologize for what happened to her. And as not one. And I yield back.
At this point, Mace calls out officials involved in USA Fencing, demanding accountability for how a female athlete was treated after standing up for women-only competition. When the official refuses to apologize, Mace frames it as a failure of leadership and basic decency. What this moment exposes is simple but powerful. The radical left cannot defend its position without abandoning reality. When asked direct questions about biology, safety, and fairness, they deflect, dodge, and hide behind ideology. Nancy Mace didn't just win an argument, she forced the country to see how hollow these talking points really are. If you believe women's sports should be fair, women's spaces should be protected, and basic biology still matters, then this exchange matters. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it so more people can see exactly what's happening in Washington.